All right, so here we are. We're going to, okay, so here we are. So we are going to talk about triangle angle sum. Now, this is all probably familiar with you because we've been working on, when we were working on triangle classification, we noticed that when we classified by the angles, that the angles added up to 180. So let's talk about that, right? So let's make a note here. First of all, let's make a note here that says, right, the angles in a triangle have a sum of 180 degrees, right? So the triangles in a triangle. So remember, inside the triangle. So let's see. So triangle means we have three angles, right? So we have one angle here, and we have a second angle on this triangle towards the bottom. The triangle is pointing down, and we have a third angle, excuse me, there, meaning three angles. That's why it's called a triangle. And the angles in a triangle have a sum of 180 degrees. So that literally means that if we add it up, we say angle green or green angle plus the blue angle plus the purple angle, excuse me, that would give you a total of 180 degrees. Well, so let's do an example here. So let's pretend example number one, it says find the missing angle, right? So let's say that here we have, this is 100 degrees, this angle here. And forgive me, the angles are not drawn to scale, but, and so this angle here is 30 degrees, right? And let's say this point here is called A, and this part of the triangle here is called B, and this end of the triangle here is called C. And it said, find the missing angle, what's missing? Well, what's missing is angle B, right? So if we do if this was green and this was blue and this was purple, three angles. Well, the three angles, the three colors add up to what? 180 degrees, right? So this angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180 degrees. So what's missing? Angle B is missing. So let's say angle B plus 100 plus 30 is equal to 180. So there we use the math that we're already used to doing a solving for a variable, right? But in this case, we're solving for the angle. So this is 130 here, right? And what do we do with this 130? We got to move it over to the right side. So I got to cross it out, and I got to subtract 130, just like that. So what's the only thing that's left here? Angle B is left. Angle B is equal to 180 minus 130 is 50 degrees. And there we go. Look at that. We found our missing angle. Right? So that's our first example. Our second example is solve for x. So this one is a little different. So let me show you. So again, we have three angles. It's a triangle. So let's say this is 4x degrees, and this bottom one is 60 degrees, and this one on the right degrees, excuse me, and this one on the right is 80 degrees, just like that. Well, if I have my angles here, I have my green angle, I have my blue angle, and I have my purple angle. And I remember that three angles, the angles in a triangle have a sum of 180 degrees. Green plus blue plus purple equals 180. Green plus blue plus purple is equal to 180. So if we set it up the same, we get the exact same thing. Only in this case, we're going to solve for x. We're going to find out what x is. So let's see. So I'll start with 4x here plus 60 plus 80 is equal to, what did we say the sum is? 180. Right? So we solve for x. We're trying to solve for x. So 60 plus 80 is 140. And we want to get 140 over, so I'm going to cross out 140, and when it comes over, it becomes a negative 140. So I bring down my line a little bit there because I still have 4x left. And 180 minus 140 is 40. Now, one last step. I want to get x by itself, so I cross out 4, and I bring it over and I divide by 4 because I'm multiplying, and the inverse is division. So I'm left with x is equal to 40 divided by 4 is 10. And there we go. We solved for x. We solved for x. So on the first example, we found the missing angle, angle B. On the second example, we solved for x. Now, on the third example, we're going to find the measure of angle A, right? So this is angle A here, okay? So that means that let's make here angle B, and let's make here angle C. So we have angle A, angle B, and angle C. So if I told you that angle A was 4x, and I told you that angle B was 6x, and then I told you that angle C was 120. What do we do? Well, let's start off with the same steps here. So I have three different angles. I have my green angle, I have my blue angle, and I have my purple angle. So I got to remember that my three angles have a sum of 180 degrees. They add up to 180 degrees, right? So let's take a look here. Okay, I have all three of these. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to combine like terms first. So I'm going to take all my x's first. So I have 4x here and 6x here, and I'm going to put them right next to each other. 4x plus 6x. Then I'm going to add my regular numbers. Plus 120 is equal to 180. Okay? Because the sum, the angles in a triangle have a sum of 180, so they have a sum of 180. So what do we do here? So let's combine these like terms first. So we get 10x. Now I have this plus 120, so I'm going to move this plus 120 over, and I'm going to make this minus 120. So I have 180 minus 120 is 60. And I still have this 10x here. So now to solve for x here, I want to get x by itself. I'm going to cross out 10, and I'm going to divide by 10 here, just like that. And I'm going to get x is equal to 6. 60 divided by 10 is 6. Now, we're not done quite yet. Because remember, example 3 says find the measure of angle A. How much is angle A? Well, angle A is 4x. So let's say angle A is equal to 4x. But wait a minute. I have x. I know what x is. X is 6. I found x. So let me substitute here. And let me say 4 parentheses 6. Because I know what x is. So that means that angle A is equal to 4 times 6 is 24. And that is my answer. Because remember, find the measure of angle A. There is my solution right there. Angle A is 4x. Angle A is equal to 4 times x. But I know what x is. X is 6, so it's 4 times 6. Now, in Delta Math, example 2 and example 3 are the most prominent examples that we're going to see. Actually, these are the two types of examples that we're going to see. We're going to see ones that say solve for x, and we're going to say ones that say solve for a certain angle. It could be ABC, it could be XYZ, it could be any letter, right? It depends on whatever letters they use. So next, we're going to see some examples of what that looks like on Delta Math. So here we go. There is the question here. It says in triangle GHI. So in Delta Math, they don't give you the triangle. They don't give you the triangle. The triangle is not drawn for you, but you're going to draw it yourself. So we have plenty of space here, so we're going to draw a triangle. Sorry if my triangle is not straight there, right? So that's my triangle GHI. So that is my triangle GHI. Now I'm going to plug in what they give us. So they say triangle G is 3x plus 14. So let's say 3x plus 14 here is angle G. Angle H is 8x plus 9. So up here with h's, I'm going to say 8x plus 9. And angle I says 2x plus 1. So angle I is 2x plus 1, just like that. So I remember that my angles here are, this is my green angle, and this is my blue angle, and this is my purple angle. Now I do that because remember, green plus blue plus purple equals 180. 3 angles added, the sum of these 3 angles is 180 degrees, right? When we add them up in a triangle, we have 180 degrees. So in this case, it's the exact same thing. So let's set it up, right? Now, this problem here says, what is the value of x? What is the value of x? So we're only going to find x, right? So let's combine those x's and let's write those x's together first. So if I notice here, what is my x on G? Well, my x on G is 3x, so I'm going to start with that. What is my x on H? Well, that's 8x, so I'm going to say that. And what is my x on I? 2x. So those are my x's. Now I'm going to add my regular numbers. 14 on G, 9 on H, and 1 on I is equal to 180. Now, I know this seems like a lot, but all we have to do is grab our calculator and add them up. So let's add up our x's first. So 3 plus 8 is 11, and 11 plus 2 is 13x. Now let's add our regular integers. 14, again, use a calculator. 14 plus 9 is 23. 23 plus 1 is 24. Positive 24. So I know that this is a positive 24, so I'm going to move this positive 24 over and make it a minus 24. So I have 13x here. And I have 180 minus 24 is 156. And if you take your calculator and you divide 156 divided by 13, you get 12. So x is equal to 12. And that is my solution, because remember, my problem said, what is the value of x? We found the value of x. We found the value of x. Okay? Now, our second example is a little different. So this is our first example. So this first example, it says the value of x is kind of like example 2 here, where we found x on the notes, right? Solve for x. What is the value of x? Same thing. Now, that's the first example here on Delta Math. Now, the second example of Delta Math, it starts off exactly the same, actually, right? In triangle CDE, so I'm going to draw triangle C, D, and E. It says angle C is 2x plus 5. So I'm going to say 2x plus 5 here. Angle D is 9x minus 7. So here I'm going to write 9x minus 7. And angle E is 2x plus 13. 2x plus 13, just like that. So the difference is that in this problem, it says find angle E. So we need to find how much this angle is right here. So we're going to find angle E. But let's do our angles first. So this is my green angle. This is my blue angle, and this is my purple angle, right? So we do the same exact thing, and we remember that the sum of the three angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. Green plus blue plus purple equals to 180 degrees. Green plus blue plus purple equals to 180 degrees, right? So let's start just like the example above here. Let's start with the x's first. Let's combine all the x's. So I'm going to start with here with C. So this is 2x plus D has 9x plus E has 2x. plus C has 5. Now, I could say plus -7 here, but instead of doing that, I'm just going to say -7. And then finally, I have plus 13 here. And they all add up to 180 degrees. So, just like in the above example, let's combine the like terms. So let's do the 2, the 9, and the 2. So 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. X again. Which this is a coincidence, by the way. Don't expect it to be 13x every single time. This is just a coincidence. Okay. Now I'm going to add the 3 integers here. So 5 minus 7. 7 is bigger, so 7 minus 5 is 2. And it's a -2. So a -2 plus 13, again, they're different. So 13 minus 2 is 11. And 13 is bigger, so 13 is positive. So positive 11. So again, I'm going to subtract here. I'm going to bring positive 11 over and make it -11. And here I get 169. Now I still have 13x, so I got to bring that over here just like that. Now to solve for x here, I need to cross out 13 and divide by 13 on this side. So I get x is equal to 169 divided by 13 is 13. There you go. Now, remember though, this was different. This says find, measure angle E. So we need to find what angle E is, right? So I'm going to bring angle E over here, and I'm going to say angle E is equal to 2x plus 13. Now, I remember that I have x. X is 13. So this is really 2 parentheses 13 plus 13. 2 times 13. So 2 times 13 is 26. And I bring down my plus 13 here. And 26 plus 13 is, angle E is equal to 39 degrees. And that's my solution right there. So these are the 2 types of examples you're going to see on Delta Math. What is the value of x? And find angle E. Now again, I know this may seem complicated and there are several steps, but I promise if you follow these same exact steps every single time, you will find the solution, okay? So watch the video as many times as you need to so you get the pattern, right? If you want to use colors, if you have highlighters, if you have crayons, colored pencils, whatever you need to help you get things lined up, go ahead and use those, all right? You're all set to go.